What's going on, guys? Choco back, and we are going to be doing some Stoneblock 2 building stuffs. So obviously at this point we have our AE2 system, like our base ME2 system, or AE2 system, sorry, already set in here. If you're wondering what that gap's about, don't you worry. We'll address that in a little bit. There's nothing in there yet, don't worry. But we also have this reaching all the way here, all the way down to here, where our drives are at for what I don't know, a lot of people have been telling me like this is going to be the end all be all of it, and by a lot of people I mean the reaction I got from, I think it was mainly Artie, it was like, what do you mean? Like, is this not enough? So who knows, maybe it will be enough, I have no idea. But we're going to go ahead and probably be poking around with now things outside of that. We have, of course, our reactor, which is all the way over that way and underneath, so there is that going as well. I think power-wise we're good, storage-wise we're pretty good. So we're ready to move on to the next part of kind of like what our base is going to be able to do. And for this, I've been struggling with this a lot. Maybe procrastinating, just a little bit, just a tiny bit of procrastination, but mainly it's a question of I'm not really quite sure how I want to do this next part, because this is going to be the introduction and implementation of a lot of different machines. And so what I think I'm going to be doing is there is one set of like cosmetically important stuff that I would like to do, but outside of that thing, it's a lot of just setting up the spaces for those different kinds of machines. And so I think what we're going to end up doing is, like, as example, right? Our chickens. We currently have a whole slew of chickens. I don't have all of them, but I do have a good number, and they're not migrated here yet. But I think that would be better served in its own kind of episode and stuff, because it's just going to be a lot of us, you know, going through, making sure that we have all the chickens that we need, blah, 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 and then having all those things feeding into their respective item slots, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm probably thinking that that's not like, it's going to be a lengthy process in and of itself, but progression wise, right, the Modpack, we're at the point of progression where we're pretty well off. Like, obviously there's some other stuff that we can still shoot for. I'm sure there's going to be some stuff in Draconic that's going to be like, you think you're making enough what now? Power? Is that what you said? What, you're calling that power? But outside of course, adjusting for those kinds of things and stuff, I think we've gotten through the bulk of the pack now. And so I think it's going to be a lot of just kind of setting up, making things look nice and having things be easily accessible and all that stuff, and then going from there. So we're going to, I think, spend this episode just kind of focusing on getting some aesthetic things kind of squared away, get some of these working spaces. I will probably end up doing this. You can see I already started like measuring out and starting to look into these things. We might make the other sections as well. I do not think I will set up this thing yet, which we'll talk about. I'm going to guess next episode would be when we do this because yeah, we have stuff that I need to be doing in here. But so we have something that's going to be going to that slot, but I do want to probably make these little extensions because those are, of course, pretty important to make sure that we can have all our machines set up and properly ready to go, and all that good stuff. So there might be one functional thing, which would be I might also, within the time lapse, include the crafting of some crafting units and stuff. So for those of you who are not, again, it's a mod pack, right? We're entering the part where a lot of people, I'm sure, are like, huh, what are you saying, Choco? I know there's a lot of people who are also like, ha, Choco, silly man. You think you need to set these guys up? It's adorable how you can't figure things out. Like, there are a lot of people, I'm sure, who are also like, is he speaking English right now? What does he mean? Is that one block? And it's like, no, we're trying to make these like crafting CPUs and stuff, which is not this, but like the overall multi-block, I'm just calling CPUs because that's just what makes sense in my head. And we have to make molecular assemblers and all that other stuff. So that might be one thing that we end up making. So we'll see, but hopefully you enjoy this time lapse. If I had to choose one thing to focus on, it would be what's going to end up happening up here. I do have a plan for that because it's about time that we expand that out and start setting those things up. I'm going to be making, in my head, I've been calling them crafting flowers, but that's not quite accurate. But I'll be making some funny things here and there. The one thing I guess to take note of is that there's actually not a whole lot of reason for me to go out there and make too terribly many of crafting co-processing units, so these guys. the reason why I set them up this way is so I can hopefully make myself remember, because I tend to not remember these things. But what I'd like to remember is that these correspond to getting one more of these molecular assemblers working, right? And so as it is right now, we have 4 of these, like the purple ones are all the co-processing units. These guys are actually going to have 4 additional to the one that we get for just making the overall block, so it can power up 5. They don't need to be attached. I can separate them, and then it will still continue to work. And so what I'm hoping to do is we can make these separate and stuff like that. But I don't know why I would make more co-processing. I think we might make one that's just like a really, really like spooky one. But outside of that one particular, like, this is meant to handle something that is like a really large multi-block constructing process, which I don't know in what situation that would happen. But outside of that one particular thing, yeah, it might be fairly straightforward. I really don't know. I'm not quite certain how that's going to end up working. So we'll see. We'll see how it ends up going. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of just me using the builder, knocking stuff out, making some more space, probably throwing down some mega torches, and kind of going that way. We will be expanding also the second floor here as part of this whole operation. The base floor, I don't know. This part I'm on the fence about, because this is kind of supposed to be where we have a little bit more of that kind of like prettier look / more varied and interesting or something going on here. So I'm not sure. The bottom part, I'm not sure if we're going to handle that today. I think I'm going to mainly focus on getting our machine spaces and such up and running. So that in and of itself is going to be a pretty large task. But anyways, enough babbling. Let's get into it, and I'll touch base with you guys once we're, something either interesting happens during the whole thing, or if I am complete and we can take a look and talk about what I've done. So here we go. Yeah, so we're going to take a quick moment to acknowledge that I did a really, really stupid thing. I'm recording this now during this time lapse. I don't know if we're going to put it after or in the middle of it. But I must have put my transmutation table down on the ground, and then it must have voided it. So I think I just lost my transmutation table. I have to go make a new one. But dang, does that suck. Yeah, so I am going to go make a transmutation table real quick. Hello and welcome back. Oh, nope. I don't want to teleport. Sorry. So let's do a little bit of a little recap about what we've been doing. You have probably seen a fair bit of just like confusing nonsense, and probably what looked like me going over what's been going on in terms of like doing a showcase. I may or may not have muted my mic. I may or may not have screwed that up, but it's okay because we're going to be doing it anyways. I did want to redo it anyhow, so that works out. So as you can see here, nothing a whole lot changed. And to recap the goals, right? I wanted to make sure that we expand those spaces out. I didn't end up doing anything on the base level, the very bottom level, but everywhere else we have done a little bit of something there. So we'll recap what we've done, and then the next thing that we'll be doing going forward is going to be looking into getting the machines and stuff filled into those spaces. But let's go ahead and take a look. So first off, we're going to go from, I guess, the top bottom except for one thing. So we have now these like recessed light things going on, which is kind of neat. So we have these little things here where it just kind of adds a little bit more variety into the way that the ceiling looks, because the ceiling did kind of look a little bit drab and looked a little bit lame. We've also put into here the mirroring of everything. So the chickens and cows, same exact kind of layout and everything like that. So we have all these systems set up in every cardinal direction in every spot. So we've added, I guess technically that would be what, 6 more of those different areas. We have also, I don't know what I just did there. Also, if you're wondering what this is about, we'll cover that in a bit. And not like this episode, but that will be something that we address in the future, probably not too far in the future. We have also added, so that's this floor. We've added these guys. Now this is going to be something we're going to be filling in with some things here and there, but this is going to be the starting point for us actually filling in this level. Because right now the level didn't really do much of anything, right? This was just kind of like, it's there. It doesn't do anything though. It's just kind of hanging out. So we've added in these domes. Of course, you can just like stroll into here or whatever. It is separated. So there's actually this glass bit here that will prevent you from just being like, just boop. Can't do that. We are doing this for a reason. I do want to put specific things in here, which should be kind of neat. This goes all the way around, of course. I think they're all the same. There was a little bit of confusion during building. Also, I'm gonna pick this up. There's probably some transmutation tables scattered around. And yeah, so that's this level. And then nothing again has changed on the very bottom part. Now, there is one last thing that we want to highlight, which I'm sure you guys have noticed. I was messing around. Actually, it's been a while since the actual time-lapse portion has ended. So let me... I'm playing around with some ideas because I'm not sure how I feel about it. I messed with elevator blocks. I messed with both the open blocks version and then also the... let's see here. So I messed with both the RF tools and the open blocks version. I'm not happy with either. I'm messing with viaducts now to see if maybe that will feel better. If not, then I'll have to figure out something else. But yeah, I've been messing with this. I'll show you what I'm talking about with that. But as part of that whole thing, as part of the beautifying process, there was a random feral flare. So if you look at feral flare lanterns, you can actually enable or disable line of sight. So this whole thing with the line of sight is really nice because it was actually, since it's disabled, it was bleeding into this area. I'm not able to look at it, but the area that would be like the cow or chicken area. But that area started getting some light from the reactor. I turned on line of sight, that fixed it up. We had some remnant light, so I had to make a frozen orb, which meant that I had to make a couple of machines here and there. So now we are the proud owners of, well, I made this induction smelter for a different reason. I think this was for viaducts. And then we also got ourselves a fluid transposer for, again, viaducts. And then we also got ourselves, I think it's over here. Yeah. We also got ourselves this glacial precipitator, which is making ice for us. Kind of neat. Not terribly important or anything, but it's just kind of a neato thing. So we got that going on for us as well. So all in all, quite a few good things. So in terms of machines and stuff, nothing that's like mind-blowing. Nothing that's going to really change the game a whole lot. It's just going to be more of like just stuff, I guess. I'm going to go ahead and get more viaducts here, just so I can experiment with these. I guess I'll pull these out. Unfortunately, viaducts do not have EMC value. This is actually the biggest heartbreak that we've experienced. besides, the whoopskadoodle. Now, the last thing that we want to show you is going to be where we're going to be looking at our tech stuff / our AE2 thing. So the recessed lights. This one looks like a regular recessed light. And then what I'm hoping is that people will walk up to it and then they'll see it open up like that to show this. Now, I know there's a gap there. I'm leaving that open just because I eventually have to fix this up. But this leads, and this is where I would like to put the viaducts to. Maybe I can... Let's see here. I am not really sure where my viaducts are. Okay, so the viaducts are in here. So I'm going to actually give this a go. Hopefully I don't spoil a whole lot of the start of it, which is very possible. And if you don't know what this block is, it's the anti-blocks. They are super duper one colored. So this should be pretty interesting. Yeah, I'm going to need quite a few viaducts. All right. So viaducts, if you're not familiar with viaducts, these things are basically like Jetson tubes. I don't know why the Jetson references keep coming. I don't know what's up with me and Jetsons lately. But these things basically will pull you in, and it's like getting sucked up by a vacuum and then popping out the other side. So anyways, so we got this going on. I'm going to see if the viaducts are the solution. I think the viaducts would be the best solution. It's just going to be a little bit time consuming. And I'm not 100% sure how it will play out with the rest of it. But this is going to be where we're going to house some of our AE2 operation. And we have an anti-block room. Now, this is, of course, all spaced out or whatever. What I would love to have happen, which I'm not sure if it will happen, but what I would like to have happen here is that this is going to end up turning into a place where we can go ahead and put some of our crafting units and stuff like that, right? So that's the plan for this. This area is meant for those AE2 crafting units and stuff because we don't interact with that, but it should be pretty cool. I think it's a nice little juxtapose too because it's kind of like because you go from, and let's try a viaduct. Whoop. Oh right, I have to. Kind of just like beams you down, but this is the one that should feel kind of neat. Right, so you're going up and down and all around. I don't know. It's okay, I guess. It's not the worst. It's not the best. I don't like that I have to the naming thing. I don't know how I feel about that. I have CPU hub. I have no idea if this is correct. Okay, and then I guess this will be, what should we call this? A main terminal, I guess. Call this the main terminal. I don't know. You can also put an item there to indicate what that all is. So I guess I could put something. I'm not gonna worry about it. All right. So, anywho, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and try to put computer things because again, you're going here where it's it doesn't look overly technologically wow crazy. Obviously the machines are kind of ruining that, but the overall feel of this whole thing isn't super techy. And so what I would like to have is the tech, the super high tech stuff I wanted to put somewhere, and I consider this to be the super high tech stuff. I know some people can be draconic, duh. The extreme reactor we hid away, AE2 stuff we generally hide away, and I think this would be a nice way to kind of keep that going. So we pop up, and then we go here and we're oh, all right, cool. And then I can start working on the CPU brains. I haven't exactly, I think I know how I want to do this, and I built this to space with that. I know I could have made this an infinite room. I call them infinite rooms because they mess with your ability to see things properly. But the idea behind a quote unquote infinite room is that you basically make it so whenever you pop up, it's either so big or so tight. Well, I guess if you make it so tight, it doesn't really work because it'll highlight the block. But if you make it so it's a huge room, it just looks like an infinite expanse of white, right? Because you wouldn't be able to see these border lines. And so as an example of what that might kind of seem like, if I were to just look here, right? It's just white. It's just nothing but white. And so some people like to have those kinds of rooms. I'm not going to worry about that right now. But either way, I am liking these viaducts though. It's not my number one thing, but I think we might keep it. We'll have to see. I don't know. So anyways, that's what we have going on. Hopefully that looks pretty cool to you guys. I'm not entirely sure how people will receive it. It didn't feel like we accomplished a whole heck of a lot, honestly. I don't know why. The thing is, right? Like, we did accomplish quite a. That's not what I meant to do. We did actually accomplish quite a bit in terms of getting stuff done. It just, for some reason, it just doesn't feel as impactful. I guess just I'm comparing it to like the actual initial build of the skeleton, and that was like, granted, that was also way more time, but maybe that's why I kind of feel like, oh yeah, you know, it's like, it's okay, but it's not great. But anyways, thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy, consider leaving a like rating down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and hit the little bell thing for the notifications about when I upload videos. Hopefully they have been consistently daily for a while now. And yeah, I think that's about it. Again, we're going to go into the machines and automation things. So we're going to be filling in, like, this one has cows and chickens in it. I do actually have to finish that off as well, which will be part of that whole thing. So now that we have EMC pretty stably, I'm going to take this whole thing and then expand the operations to everything else. Tinkers is a little bit weird because we've changed the idea behind what we're doing for Tinkers, but I will see. Question mark. So we will have to see. But anyways, yeah. So thank you very much for watching, and as always, and most importantly, make sure that you take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful, safe day, and until next time, ciao for now.